Hi you guys, it's Amanda with Healthy House on the Block, and I am here with another weekly video, tip, and blog post on creating an indoor space that really supports your health and wellness. Today I'm going to cover how to go about hiring a contractor that also embraces this mentality. It's a question I get all the time if I know of a contractor or if I know how to hire a contractor that really looks at low toxin materials and products. And to be honest, they're few and far between, but you can find them. And so today I'm going to share with you some search terms that you can use to find someone in your area. And I'm also going to share with you a list of questions that you can use when you're looking to hire a contractor. We're going to talk about a couple other things when it comes to projects in your home and how I could assist you as well. I work with contractors in providing them a list of materials that are low toxin and toxin free. And I have a few of those lists on my blog over the last few weeks and over the last few months. Otherwise, it's something that I can custom make for you if your project requires something that's a little more custom made. Now, I'm going to take you through some slides that go through all of the information in this week's blog post. If you're someone who really likes to read through the post or you want to print out the questions, head to my blog post. It is linked in the description below. Otherwise, let's get started and find out how you can go about hiring a contractor that really embraces this low toxin lifestyle. So one of the questions I get asked most by you and other homeowners is, how do I hire a contractor who knows about toxin-free materials and products? And to be quite honest with you, it can be really difficult to hire a contractor who does really know anything about toxins or how to reduce them as much as possible in your home. And this can be doubly hard if you find that you're living in an area with a smaller population where there just aren't as many options. But that doesn't mean that it's impossible. Even if you can't hire a contractor who is well-versed in the toxin-free options out there, you can hire a contractor who is at least open-minded and willing to use materials and products that they're not necessarily familiar with. When you're wanting to get started on a home project that requires some professional help, believe me, I know how daunting the task of hiring a good contractor can be. I've done it many times and it's stressful every time. There are so many considerations when it comes time to hire a contractor that it can actually put a halt in your project's timeline altogether. So today I'm looking forward to sharing with you some of my best secrets of how to hire a contractor for a healthy home project. We're going to cover which search terms to use when you're hunting for a contractor, the questions to ask a potential contractor, and what to do when you can't find a low toxin contractor in your area. So first, let's kind of talk about some of the search terms to find a contractor. There are so many ways you can search for a contractor in your area, but probably the most common way is to do a Google search. And when you're going to hire a contractor for any sort of project, you'll probably head to that search engine or another search engine first to get the ball rolling. So this is a really great way to start because you may be able to find what you're looking for with just a few of the right key terms. And so we're going to take a look at some of the best key terms to use. So first we will take a look at the first part of what you're going to be searching. These are like the main terms. We're looking at eco-friendly, green, healthy, toxin-free, non-toxic, organic, natural, and chemically sensitive. And then what you'll do is you'll pair that with whatever type of contractor you're hunting for. So I'm going to give you a list of just some like potential ideas. When we're looking at home projects, these are the types of contractors that we're going to be hiring. So if a company or contractor comes up under these search terms, they may or may not be a good contractor to hire. Obviously, you have to do more digging, but you just narrowed down your search by a very large margin in using these. You can also search through reviews and ratings for key terms. Sometimes there are contractors who don't necessarily promote that they will use low toxin products and materials. And if you've struck out on finding a healthy contractor to hire, you can always hire a contractor who's willing to work with your products and materials. This actually happens so frequently in my line of work, as I know the products you put in your home are very important to you. If you can hire a contractor who is open-minded and willing to use the products that you would like other than what they've typically used, you have found yourself a contractor who will likely use the building materials that you provide for them, which can be healthy and toxin-free. The next part of this is just some questions that you can ask a potential contractor. So how you go about finding a contractor is going to be different than hiring. So often you can find someone to work with by just asking a few key questions when you're interviewing them, either by phone or email. I will also remind you that contractors are really busy. So just a few key questions should be all you need to ask right off the bat. I always think try not to waste your time or their time if you're unsure you'll be hiring them. And once you've decided you might like to hire this particular contractor, then you can expand your questions to more as they bid your job or you get to know them. So some of these first questions that you can ask when interviewing are things like, have you worked on any projects that involved toxin-free products or materials? Kind of get an idea of their familiarity. You could also ask, I'm interested in using more natural products for this particular project. Are you familiar with any that relate to my job? Sometimes they have experience and they don't always advertise it. You could also ask, how do you plan on minimizing dust and debris during the project? This is going to give you an idea if that keeping dust out of your house is important to them. Another idea is, are you willing to use materials and products that I provide? This gives you complete control over your project. Some contractors do this and some contractors do not, and that's fine. You just want to find the right one. And then the last question that I usually ask is, do you have experience working with chemically sensitive families? A lot of times families who are chemically sensitive just need lower toxin materials anyways, and a contractor who has worked with someone like that in the past is going to be a really good fit for your family. So once you've asked these questions, you'll be able to get a feel for your contractor's potential to work in your home. Not only will you be able to tell if they're knowledgeable, but you'll also be able to tell if they're willing to customize the work that you'd like. Once you've hired a contractor, you'll have to ask more questions and do a little bit more homework, but this is a really good starting spot. So now let's take a look at just some tips on hiring a contractor. So first and foremost, make sure that you hire a contractor who has been out to give you a written estimate or bid on the project. Get the estimate in writing and make sure you understand how long the bid is good for before it expires. Contractors all work differently in terms of how they charge for work. A general contractor is going to itemize out a project differently than a plumber, and some contractors will just give you a flat rate. It's never rude or annoying to ask how this is calculated. The second thing you want to keep in mind when you're hiring a contractor for your home project is how they will gain access to your home. Will they need to be let inside? Will you provide a lockbox? You get to call the shots because it is your house. You can also be very specific on how you want the area for the project to be closed off while they're working, and this will help with the dust and debris that can get spread throughout your home. Third, make sure you discuss who will be purchasing the non-toxic materials and products you've arranged to be used. So sometimes a homeowner is solely responsible. If that's the case, make sure your contractor is only charging you for their labor and not for any materials. Other times, a contractor will supply the materials and products you've requested, but either way, make sure you know this ahead of time. And then finally, make sure there's a formally signed paperwork trail, waivers protecting both you and the contractor in the case that the project does not go as planned. I've had excellent experiences with the majority of contractors I've worked with, both professionally and personally, but we have had a bad experience or two that just reminds us to make sure that we are protected in case not everything is as it seems. So when it comes time to work with a contractor, I want to share with you that you can actually hire me. So one of the services I offer is to put together a product list and a booklet that you can provide to your contractor. It's one of the ways that I'm able to help many families when they're remodeling or doing a home project. And if you found a contractor or designer who's willing to use materials and products that you'd like, this service is perfect to add. So not only will it take the endless research out of your hands, but it also gives you the peace of mind knowing that the product or material going into your house is really safe for you and your family. So all it takes is a quick consultation via phone or Zoom where I'll gather information about your project and your family's needs and desires. From there, I get to work creating a plan of materials and building components and finishes that your contractor can use for your project. Most families choose to hunt down most of the supplies on their own. However, some of the recommendations may be purchased from like a showroom or a supply store where contractors often have discounts. The plan that I make you is a living page on my website, and you'll also receive a PDF that you can print out. I'm always available for additional questions throughout your project, and we can make changes to your live webpage at any time. So you can set up a consultation by following the link in this week's blog post. I have a variety of rates, and it'll lay it all out for you, so you can just head to this week's blog post, which is the link at the end of my video description, and follow the buttons that lead you to my consultation page. You guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope that you were able to get a little bit of information on hiring a contractor that really embraces this low toxin lifestyle, whether it's something you'll use now or in the future. I will be back next week with another healthy house tip on creating an indoor space to support your health and wellness.